A very happy eclipse to you all. Welcome to Akashic Answers with Emily. We are going to get started here with some Akashic record readings and activations for you today on Eclipse Day. So the records are now open. Come on in, everybody. Let the sound of this crystal bowl that's tuned to the crown chakra, let this open up your crown chakra and allow you to tap into expanded creativity, unseen solutions in your life to the areas where you are stuck. Simply by listening, again, sound a primordial frequency so we can use the vibrational frequency of sound to attune our energy field. So I invite you all to receive this attunement as you're coming in. Please say hello once you get here. And those of you who are familiar to this space, welcome back. If you're new, make sure that you let us know that you are new so we can make you feel very welcome in this most sacred space. For those of you who are regulars, you know I like to know where you are tuning in from. It's so powerful as we are moving through this expansion together and we are reinventing that we begin to visualize and actually see, even with if it is with our inner eyes first, that we see the vision of the planet waking up, and every single one of you who are here right now live or on the replay are a very special part of the awakening process. Now today is an eclipse. We are in a very potent cosmic time where the reinvention and the creation for how we are going to show up in 2021 is at hand in every single moment. Every thought you are thinking right now, especially during this eclipse energy, is rapidly manifesting. So it is my pleasure and honor to show up and support you, to remind you to tap into the space of infinite possibility. This is a new vibrational frequency we're learning to hold. We're learning to see ourselves as geniuses. We are having success at manipulating the field. And I don't use that word manipulation in a bad way. I mean, we're learning to command our energies and to see a ripple effect in our physical reality very, very quickly. So we want to be able to learn to manage and harness our energies to their highest potential right now because so much is at stake. So thank you all for being here. Again, if you have not met me before, my name is Emily Harrison. I'm the founder and director here at the Akashic Academy, and my area of expertise is in the Akashic Records, bringing this technology back to the planet. Visionaries and thought leaders right now are carving the way, calling in the new paradigms of the 5D, the new earth, and I am so honored to be able to help people return their inherent connection to infinite intelligence, especially those who are here to make big change on the planet, like each one of you. So thank you for being here. And let's dive in. I'm going to talk a little bit about the eclipse energies that are at hand right now. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to ask you all to please share out this sacred space. Okay, one of the best things that we can do to bring in more intelligence, to support the awakening, the process that we're all going through, is to share intelligence and to share support. So I'm going to invite you to share this out, and then right after you do, type in your questions. The areas where you would like higher levels of insight, guidance, and clarity in your life. So important right now, today, that you are clear on the next steps of where you need to put your focus and attention so that you can harness these energies, reinvent to your most potent potential, because the planet needs you. There are areas of genius and expertise that only you can bring into the planet, and this requires you knowing yourself on a soul level, which is what we are being invited. All of us, even those of us who know our mission, we're being invited to re-examine and to stretch and to grow bigger right now. Every single creative project that we are going in and investing our energy and our attention to is being infused with the power of winter, the winter solstice 2020. One of the most potent reinvention cycles that we have ever experienced. And sometimes you can't see the truth of who you are because your trauma, your past memory of times when you have shown up and evaluated yourself to have failed, keeps getting in the way. So if that's you, if anybody is having trouble still seeing their true self, seeing their true potential, let me know that there's struggle in that area, and we'll pause and we will do some activation work to open up our eyes and our hearts to the truth of who we are and what is possible here. Does anybody feel like they're still struggling with that? I'm going to scroll back through here. Nirma says, I need guidance for trust and certainty on my path. Okay, so those are, we're going to dive into that. That's a good one, Nirma. Because guess what? Trust and certainty don't go together, Nirma. One of the biggest, and it's a really big growth point, really big stretch point, and it also tends to happen early on, somewhere early on in our growth process. I mean, it always happens at the right time, but what I find is this usually comes up early on, and it'll continue to show up for you. But when it shows up early on, get excited because you are fundamentally clearing your fear of scarcity right away. And to really be impactful with this work, you've got to get scarcity out of the way because it's just simply not true. This plane that we are living in is infinitely abundant. And learning to trust that is so important. And the universe invites us into an opportunity to learn to trust, or it's not even really learning to trust, it's choosing trust during phases of uncertainty. And when you can hold trust and you can manage your energy and hold your energy field and tune it to whatever you want that vibrational frequency to be, regardless of the uncertainty or unclarity that you're currently experiencing, that's good stuff. Now, I'm all for clarity. I'm all for calling bullshit on confusion in our life, but yet there are times in our life when we must wait for the dust to settle and things are uncertain. And when you can learn to choose trust, choose peace, choose certainty, that's how we begin to invite the certainty in. But many, many times you'll find that those two things go together or don't go together, depending on however you want to look at it. Okay? Anybody else feel like they're struggling with an uncertain future right now? It's hard to trust. It's hard to completely surrender. If you guys are, yeah, I'm seeing some hearts going across the screen. Okay. Here's the guidance the Spirit wants to bring in. Here's the shift. For those of you who are feeling like it's hard to trust, I'm going to invite you in this moment to remember that you are infinite intelligence incarnated as a human being, okay? You have taken your God-like intelligence, where your ass know it all, you borrowed that, you put it into this human thing right here, and you've forgotten that you've got all this God intelligence. But let's just say, let's do a little acting here together for you guys. What if that were true and your job was to wake up and to remember yourself as this godlike intelligence? And you know, from manifesting, we've got to do the acting as if before we really get it, before we nail it, right? We've got to act as if what we want is already here. So I'm going to invite you to act as if you already know that you are infinite intelligence incarnated, and you know that you've forgotten and that your job is to show up. And I'm going to invite you to stop trying to glimpse your godlike intelligence, go looking for this, grasping at it from your human perspective, and simply remember you are this. and flip it. Start viewing your human experience from your godlike intelligence. And when you make that flip, you're going to notice that intelligence, or the consciousness that you embody, is the catalyst that solves your problems. It's just like turning a flashlight on, okay? You don't have problems. You don't have overwhelming problems and shit you can't handle. You are not the problem yourself. What you are is you are embodied intelligence. You are an embodied flashlight that as soon as you put your awareness on a problem, you are inviting the solution. If you don't get sucked down the frequency, the path, the vibrational match of the problem, which is what most humans do because we forget that we're gods and that it's just our job to be this intelligence that we shine the light on and then allow the solution to come forward. It's really that easy. But because we've forgotten, we tend to make it harder. All right, so let's bring through an activation right now for everybody who is, we talked about a lot of different stages of this shift. All right, if you're in the uncertainty and you're in the reinvention and you feel like the problems that you're experiencing are overwhelming, now that you've been invited to experience your human life from this level of intelligence where you know you're God, mind, then see what starts to come forward for you. Okay, so I'm going to bring through an activation. Anybody who wants to more dynamically experience themselves from the God perspective, not from the human perspective trying to figure out how we're God. Let's get up here into the God perspective and start examining the human situation. For all of you guys who are receiving that, type yes in for me. Receive this in the heart space. I want you to imagine that you're breathing with the heart. A nice big inhale. Expanding, and then a nice little exhale, releasing. Releasing the heart constriction, opening up the heart, opening up your ability to see yourself. And truly, as you begin to see through those God eyes, they come from the heart space. They don't come from the brain space. Yes, I see your yeses. Thank you. Narma, I see you. Jolie, I see you. Tamisha, I see you. Kelly, I see you. Thank you all. Trisha, I see you. Yes, holding space for all of you. Yes, this is a good one. Thank you for being willing to see yourself this way. Okay, we're going to dive in and grab more questions now. Remember, you can still type in your questions. I'm going to be scrolling, though, until we get there. Oh, one thing that I did not mention on this go-around is that if I'm answering a question that you did not type in, but you feel like, holy shit, she's talking to me, it is. It's your guides coming through that message for you. So please receive that message like it was initiated for you, because it was. Nirma, the trust, I see you. Romania in the house, I love it. Okay, what else we got here? Trust is huge, so huge, Jolie. Okay, Tamisha says, I have found that I connect with others' hearts and would like to know how to access and heal my past traumas. And let's see more. To go to the doggone, it's not letting me see more, and I'm sorry, it's moving the camera too as I'm hitting it. So thank you guys for not getting too dizzy there. All right, Tamisha, I can't see the rest of your question, but I'm going to take you from here. So you found that you connect with others' hearts. That's excellent. So much work needs to be done in turning on the heart space. And honestly, we hear about the pole shift, the pole flips. I feel like one interpretation of that pole flip, as we each experience it on our microcosm, will be learning to shift the function of the brain and the heart. Like flip those poles. Right now, the brain and the five senses, which are very limited and keep us in the space of the ordinary mind. The five senses do not allow us to expand into higher levels of consciousness. We got to learn to use the inner portion of those senses to expand the consciousness, right? But so many people exist in the brain, in the ordinary mind, where the five senses define the world that we live in. And so when we flip the poles and we learn to allow the heart mind to rule, we're going to start calling in more and more of the 5D. Tamisha, when it comes to clearing past traumas, well, my favorite way is with the Akashic Records, because the components necessary in order to clear a trauma is, one, to understand the soul lesson there, right? We've got to figure out, how did this help me? We cannot play victim mode. We've got to own, my soul chose this for some reason. I'm going to play detective now and figure out what it is. And then there are aspects to the old trauma that we've experienced where those people who played out those experiences with us, like that energy must be neutralized as well. And by taking a look at those soul contracts, we can neutralize them. Once you realize what lesson your soul needed to learn, and you can honor the person, even if they fucked you up, for being the catalyst or being someone who agreed to show up in this life and to teach you that lesson, and you can truly come to a place of gratitude, doesn't mean that you have to invite that person back into your life. But there are many times that you guys have cut off, and me too, I've learned the hard way on this one, cut off what you feel like are toxic relationships because you're setting your boundaries. And really what we're doing is we're igniting somebody else's defenses. A lot of times those conversations don't go over well. And if there is an estrangement that can be brought into completion with forgiveness and neutrality, we must bring it there. But at the minimum, not, like I said, not all circumstances require that, but at the minimum, all circumstances where others have played out traumatic roles with us, the energy does need to be addressed and neutralized in some way. So you got to at least figure out how to be grateful that that person allowed you to learn and expand in that way, or a situation. A lot of times we could have traumatic health situations, lots of people dealing with cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autoimmune diseases, things that physically manifest in our world because they were undealt with, unprocessed, unneutralized emotions that get stuck in your somatic tissue. That's your soft tissue of the body. It's like a memory field that gets stuck in the body. So we need to clear out that old memory as well, okay? So there is learning the lesson, neutralizing the energy with that person. Oh, that was a loud crash in my house. I don't know what that was. And I'm not going to go check on it because that is not my mess. I do not want to clean that up. I was right here with you all this whole time. You saw me. I did not make that mess. I am not going to check on whatever that crash was. I don't know if you heard it or not. All right, let's see if I can get my train of thought back though. Okay. Dogs barking, kids yelling out there. Shit, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what we were talking about. If anybody can bring us back to what we were talking about, you get a little bonus prize from me. Shit. It felt good too. Come on, baby. It's too much. It's going to be way too much pressure now. Let me try to get it back. I can't even actually stop smiling to get calm and figure out what I was talking about. Preaching about something. Oh, Jolie said stuck on forgiving your father. Yeah, okay, so that at least brings me back to the relationship. Okay, I'm back. Thank you, Jolie. I'm back. All right, so to clear trauma, these are the components that you need. Soul lesson. Neutralization of the energy of the person who played out that with you, okay? Either moving it into full forgiveness or at least moving into a space where you can be grateful for the lesson that you learned, right? Here's the cool thing about that. Once you make those adjustments, it's like a giant play, giant Hollywood screenplay here that we're playing out. Once you make those adjustments around the soul lesson that certain beings agreed to show up and teach you, they don't have to show up as the asshole and teach you those lessons anymore. How they show up in your life can actually change. So realize one of the best ways to deal with difficult people in your life is to take it back down to this level, figure out what the soul lesson is, thank them, let them show up in your life and work on something different with you. Okay? Okay, so that's step 2, is neutralizing the energy with the person that you are, or the situation that brought you the trauma, right? And the third one, all I can hear is my daughter yelling and yapping out there. The third one was so good. Oh, what a mess today. I said the third one before. Hang on, I'm going to remember it. Thank you. Oh, my guys. Thank you. Oh, yes. Removing it from the tissue. Removing it from the soft tissue. Because what happens is your DNA is such smart stuff, such an intelligent substance, that it's recording and altering constantly, like giving feedback to our cells, right? If your cells take on a trauma, that will get imprinted in the replication of the cells through the DNA. So you want to make sure you clear it. And I'm going to tell you how I cleared mine, but I'm going to tell you at the root of this, this is medicine that my record specifically gave me because it was going to work for me. So I'm going to tell you what I did. It may or may not work for you. This is why the records is so important, is that when we have access to soul level intelligence, it's super easy to figure out, hey, what's the soul lesson? Hey, how do I need to work on moving this energy into a state of neutrality and forgiveness? Help me change something. I'm pissed still. And learning this third step of knowing what medicine specifically is going to work for you. For me, I respond really well to tapping in my DNA light lineage. Not my real lineage here on the planet. My real lineage is German and Irish. My light lineage comes from lots of different places in the galaxy, but I recognize some of my major guides are ancient Taoists. They drop Chinese medicine into my field, and I look it up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. All right. So the understanding of the organs, the 5 major organs, and how each one holds a particular program or emotional frequency. The lungs store sadness. So I combined EFT, which is tapping. I didn't do it the traditional way. I tapped on the organs, the lungs, that were holding the sadness. And then I needed some alchemy tool to transmute, which means turn the old, sad, dense energy that's been held in my lungs for a long time, creating an undercurrent vibrational frequency that's pulsating out of my field, right? I needed an alchemy tool to transmute that. My 2 favorite alchemy tools are the violet flame and Ho'oponopono. I decided to use Ho'oponopono for this one. So I said, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Lungs, sadness. Heart, unforgiveness. The belly is the worry. Kidneys are your fear, and the liver is anger. So I went through to release my trauma and to release the somatic memory of the trauma, so I didn't keep recreating that shit in my field. I went through and did an energy medicine protocol to release it for myself. Okay. All right, so let me see what energy activation that we want to bring in around this. Tamisha, thank you so much for bringing this conversation into the container. That was a good one. They're bringing my energy really to the root chakra. I'm not sure why yet, so let me just figure out the why so I can explain to you how we're going to tie all these pieces together here. Oh man, it's so hard to hear the guys over the 11-year-old who's, hey guys, Viv, I'm live, baby, please. Working with kids home, I need a sign on my door. That's my bad. I need a sign on the door that says Mom's live. Shh. All right, so we're gonna do a root chakra activation here. Root chakra is really designed to help us hold our sovereignty, our freedom, to stay safe and secure in all aspects of our life. is really coming in around creative certainty. Okay, so many times we, and this is specifically around the medicine, so to bring this full circle and to talk about, Namisha talking about how she could best clear her own trauma. The best way to clear your own trauma, first, anchor that root, feel safe. If you don't have a safe place to feel like you're doing the magical work, your energy is going to feel wonky as you're doing it, okay? So that's one of the first reasons we're really grounding in, working on that root chakra. And then the trusting of yourself, feeling safe enough to really trust your own intuition, trust your ability to heal, trust your ability to get medicine. And trust yourself to be accountable with the follow-through. Okay? All right. The sacral chakra is really coming online there with all that. Like the roots is a lot of safety energy, but the sacral is really a lot of trust energy and trusting yourself. And trusting yourself to create. And to create experiences that are safe for you to learn and grow. Breathe, just breathing with the lower belly, everybody. As you breathe in, push the belly outward, and as you exhale, pull the belly back towards the spine. If you're receiving this activation around trust and safety, just type in yes for me. So I can see and witness you. Good job. How's this landing for you guys? Feel like the insight is landing and serving you as it's coming in? I hope so. Let me know. All right, we're going to take one more question here for today. One question, uno más. Don Hicks, inbox me for a spiritual reading. Hamzat. Why are you coming on here and telling people to give you a reading? All right, here's what we're going to do. This is a perfect time to release judgment because I can see a couple of you guys are pissed off and fired up about it, and truthfully, it's not really good etiquette. And let's practice some forgiveness and some compassion and some holding space. For here's what I'm going to say about Hamzat, all right? Way to grab your balls and get out there. I'll give you that. And let's use this opportunity to create a supportive environment. Create an environment where we can all learn and grow and expand together. And if you feel a part of you feels fired up about that, see if you can melt into it. See if you can find some compassion. See if you can find some grace. See if you can turn that compassion and that grace now towards yourself. Bring it into this container. This is a place where we're allowed to learn, we're allowed to examine ourselves. We're allowed to course correct. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. All right, let me see if there's anything else. All right, Emily Claire, how can I root down enough under the new moon? And a couple questions here about how to access your own Akashic Records. Albert and Madison, love this. I'm going to invite everybody now. Make sure you check out the akashicacademy.com. go check out the website, please. There's lots of really incredible, powerful tools there, free resources to support you along your journey, along with more information about what it takes to dive in and read your records. But everybody can read their records and can learn to do this. It requires, first of all, a command of your own internal energy so that you can begin to shift your consciousness and know the different subtle vibrational frequencies of the energy that's coming in for you and your own energy and getting messages. Then there needs to be a huge self-purification phase where you examine yourself, your karma, your trauma, your issues, because these are the things that are standing in our way from truly, fully loving and knowing ourselves. We got to clear out a lot of energy because until we are, from the purest standpoint, coming from a space of unconditional love and wanting the highest and best outcome for ourselves and everyone connected to us, and being willing to release what that outcome is, you can't get the height of the information because it's just too powerful. Excuse me. And you might use it for eco purposes, like we did back in the days of Atlantis, which is the same storyline that we are attempting to not repeat again. Okay, so let's talk about best ways to ground in your energy under this new moon. I moved somewhere and my light got a little wonky. Let me fix that. There we go. My favorite ways to really harness the moon energy are to take salt baths. I love that. I feel like the water is very, very programmable. And so whatever I'm specifically working on during that moon cycle, whether it's a release or whether it's an intention that I'm setting, I always take salt baths and program the water with my intention of what I'm doing. I feel like that amplifies the experience for me. I also like to charge my crystals during this time when the moon is full and new, because I feel like it clears and allows my crystals, which I look at as tools to help anchor my energy, to hold the energy frequency of the lessons that are being invited for me to learn during this time. I really like to do that. And then I also like to celebrate with some kind of meaningful expression through all of my senses. So food, music, dancing, ritual. It can be completely customized to what makes you feel alive. But that's what I do is I use the time for me to celebrate what makes me feel alive, with the understanding of the specific cosmic signature. So this signature that we're experiencing right now is inviting reinvention, and it's also challenging us to grab bigger and bigger ideas, very complex ideas. I shouldn't say complex. But sometimes they feel complex when we're grabbing them because they're right on the edge, they're on the cusp of what our intelligence can currently hold. So that's a good thing. So for me, because this is a creative and very expansive energy, and I love my life as a spiritual entrepreneur. I love my business. I love how I show up every day and support the planet. I love creating opportunities to make powerful ceremony and ritual so that we can experience and re-experience ourselves together. It's so good. So for me during this time, I'm beginning to brainstorm even bigger possibilities of how I can show up in 2021 in my retreats, more attention to the nuance of detail that creates a certain experience for my clientele who like to have really mystical, magical, mind-blowing, life-altering experiences. So that's how I personally am using and harnessing this energy. And I would love to hear how you guys out there, how do you celebrate? What are your favorite ways? There are no wrong ways to bring attention and ceremony to what it is that we're doing. And no real wrong ways to interpret the energy. But this is my take on it. And I'd love to know what is alive for each of you as well. As we are wrapping up here, we'll do one more activation. This activation is coming in. I feel like it's an invitation for surrender as we move through this really powerful time. And whatever that means to you, whether you are surrendering the areas where you've limited yourself. Maybe you surrender worry. If worry is a practice that any of you are still giving attention to, surrender worry for me, please. Let me know what feels alive for you to surrender. Maybe some of you have guilt in your life. Mom guilt can come up big if you're a spiritual working entrepreneur like me and you get pissed at your kids when they're interrupting your work and you yell at them like I did on this broadcast. Although pretty kindly. Maybe you've got guilt that comes up. Maybe you've got overwhelmed because you're trying to balance it all. Whatever feels like the energy that would lighten the load for you for this eclipse, I want you just to bring awareness to it now. Let's surrender it. Surrendering it here together. And just calling in Kuan Yin's presence coming in really strong, everyone. Using her powers of vaporization. So it's coming in for me. What I'm seeing happening in the field and vaporizing all that you're bringing into surrender. Beautiful work. All right, again, I'm going to invite you to come check out what's going on the website, theakashicacademy.com, if you are looking for more resources to support you. The other really easy place that you can get support is if you are not a member of the Akashic Academy Masterclass, the group here on Facebook. Incredible support for you there. I'm going to leave both links for you in the comments right after I hang up here. And I wish you all a most beautiful eclipse. Take time to honor yourself, honor your life, honor what you're creating during this time. Take time to get really clear on what you're going to surrender. And I will see you back here again very soon.